not wearing makeup today, which is ironic because of Kira's video. Look, I match with Before I Die. Hey guys, and welcome back to my shelf. Today I'm going to be doing a well-awaited review of Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I read this in a 24-hour readathon, which I did a vlog of, and it did really well on my channel, so thank you so much for that. It will be popped in the link in the description box below if you would like to go and watch it, or I'd link it in the iBar. God knows if I can do that. I'm going to be doing a review of this today, and I read it in a 24-hour-thon. It was my last book, and I thought I would review it because now I own and have read all of John Green's books. I will try and keep this review as spoiler-free as I possibly can, but that means that my notes are kind of weak. I'm sorry if this review is just totally pointless because there are a lot of spoiler things I could say, but I'm going to try my best to keep it spoiler free. Without further ado, here is my Turtles All the Way Down review. The first thing we need to kind of decipher about Turtles All the Way Down in this review is what it's actually about. So Turtles All the Way Down is about a girl called Aza, it's a real Aza. Zay's a word. She kind of has OCD, but it's never explicitly said, and I've heard a lot from people who have read this book who said that she's got OCD but it's not diagnosed. So I'm going to go with that and what everyone else has said. It's about a girl called Aza, or however you want to say it, who has OCD or tendencies about OCD. So Aza and her best friend Daisy, which I'll come on to in a minute, come into some money and are unintentionally made billionaires, but Daisy finds there's something suspicious. So they have to investigate, and Aza's at the same time as this is figuring out herself, and there's love interests, and it's a very big roller coaster of a plot. I think that John Green really handled this plot very well, and it was very well thought out. I feel like if he hadn't thought it out so well, it could have gone, you know, flatline, but he didn't. He planned it out and it was great. So one of the main things I have to say about this book is the spiral motif. As you can see on the cover, the spiral of the Turtles all the way down, down. It just kind of gives that representation of OCD and how you're in a spiral. It's always going round in your head's buzzing. You can't get away from these OCD tendencies. Just a spiral of everything. It goes round and round and you can't get out of it. You can't really help it either. I don't have OCD. I don't really know anyone that has been diagnosed properly with OCD. So I'm not sure how well this has represented OCD, but I've heard it has a good representation and a bad one. So maybe if you read it or if you have OCD, we can kind of compare and we can say if this book has a good representation. I can't really say because I don't have the disease or illness. An illness that I do have is depersonalization, and I feel like this book unintentionally possibly touched on the fact that this character may have depersonalization. I have suffered with DPD for a very long time without possibly even knowing it, which is why DPD representation in this book is so good, because the characters don't even realise that they have DPD. Whether that was on purpose by Green or not, it was phenomenal, and even if it wasn't on purpose, it was great. So props to you. That's what I can say about the representation of mental health. It did DPD justice, and I'm not sure about OCD, but I have done a little bit of research, and everyone says that it has, but there are some unpopular opinions. I've been to Devon all week, forgive me. Leading on from the kind of OCD tendencies that the main character has, she pierces her skin a lot, and I don't think if you're queasy you'll enjoy this that much. But to do with her OCD, she has a bandage on one of her fingers, and she keeps checking for an infection and stabbing her wounds and like getting the pus out, and it's really graphic. It kind of made me realise how horrible OCD is, and OCD is not just by cleaning either. Now we're coming on to John Green's writing style and plot and stuff like that. Is it just me, or does John Green have a thing for describing food? Because oh my god, every time I read a chapter of one of his books or I read a book of his, I feel so hungry. I don't know if it's just me being fat, but John Green has a way with describing, you know, food and the way he likes food. Now on to the main character Aza's best friend Daisy. There are so many intertextual references, and in my humble opinion this book is so postmodern. It's so postmodern that it made me giggle, and it was just the best feeling in the world. Daisy, her best friend, is obsessed with Star Wars, and there are so many Star Wars references that made me very, very incredibly happy. Even if you haven't never seen Star Wars before, I promise you'll get it, because Star Wars is pretty iconic, especially if you've been keeping up to the modern side of Star Wars especially, but there are a few old school references as well. She's writing a fanfic fiction about a character Rey, and it's a coincidence that Daisy's character is called Daisy and the person who plays Rey in Star Wars is Daisy Ridley. I just found it so nice and so satisfying. Don't know if it was on purpose, it probably was, because that's kind of John Green's humour style, but it was amazing, and it was a good touch, it really was. One thing I'm going to say about John Green's writing style in all of his books across the board is that he gets the dialogue between teenagers really well. Unlike some authors and their books, aka Another Place by Matthew Crow, their dialogue for teenagers is totally off. But John Green always hits its nail on the head. He gets the dialogue right. He used the word stan. Oh my god, what the hell. He even caught on with the Pepsi meme. So on page 66 there is some about postmodernism and what makes a person. I'll read the exact quote to you right now. Like, what even makes you a person? In a body and a soul and feelings, and he spoke a language and he was an adult, and if he and Ray were in hot hairy communication love, then he'd just thank God that two consenting sentient adults found each other in a dark and broken galaxy. It talks a lot about individualism and what makes a human, and that's kind of what postmodernism is. It's referencing Star Wars, intersexuality. This book is postmodern. I don't even care what anyone says, and that just kind of scores points in my book because I am a postmodernism nerd. One of my last points that I do want to quickly make about this book before ending on a kind of not so good note. There's a line in this book that really is going to stick with me for a very long time. Not for the rest of my life, like Looking for Alaska. As you can see, your now is not your forever, and this book talks about how people's journeys can change and how people can always be evolving. It talks about how the current character situations and the reader's situations in anyone's situations is not permanent and doesn't need a permanent solution like suicide or, you know, self-harm or anything like that. It just is a beautiful book and it deserves to be known as a beautiful book that it is. However, I'm going to compare it to his older work. It is not the best John Green book that I have ever read. I don't care if I'm a sellout, I don't care if I'm a John Green fangirl, I fucking admit that. I love John Green so much. He's one of my favourite authors and I definitely wanted to be him. But on the whole scale of the John Green books from favourite to least favourite, he'll probably be above The Fault in Our Stars and Paper Towns, but not as good as Abundance of Catherine's or Looking for Alaska. I liked it. I really enjoyed the fact that it was postmodern, talked about OCD and depersonalization without even kind of realising it. Don't go in thinking it's the newest, best John Green book, because it really isn't. I'm not saying that there's anything bad about it or against it, I just didn't think it lived up to John Green's expectations. Maybe it was a little bit overhyped. Maybe it was a little bit of both of those things, and it didn't take away from the experience. I just don't think it was the best John Green book. So that was my review of John Green's Turtles All the Way Down. I really hope that you enjoyed it. It got 3 stars, sort of around about there, 3.5 in Goodreads, because I enjoyed it, but it wasn't the best John Green book I have ever read. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next Saturday for another booktube video. Bye! I wanna watch them fly and fly and see them soar up into the unknown, but I feel just like a nerd watching birds, watching me here.